The breaking news this morning, President Trump is appearing now to rule out sending U.S. troops as part of any peacekeeping mission in Ukraine after leaving the door open to doing just that during Monday's White House summit. Also, now Russia is again refusing to commit to a face-to-face between Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky, even as President Trump continues to push, saying he quote, sort of has set one up, a meeting. In just the last hour, President Trump spoke about potential land swaps as part of a deal to end the war, while appearing to blame Ukraine, not Russia, for starting the conflict. Here's what he said.
Ukrainians are going to get their life back. They're going to stop having people killed all over the place, and they're going to get a lot of land. But this was a war, and Russia is a powerful military nation, you know, whether people like it or not. It's a powerful nation. It's a much bigger nation. It's not a war that should have been started. You don't do that. You don't take on a nation that's 10 times your size. And
joining us right now is retired Admiral James Stavridis, a CNN senior military analyst. I see you shaking your head. What do you make of what the president said right there?
Well, first and foremost, as always, let's remember this is a war of choice by Russia, and specifically by Vladimir Putin. He invaded his neighbor, and the Ukrainians are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their children. They're fighting for their families. They're fighting for their civilization and for their language. And I think we need to honor the way in which they are fighting, not imply in kind of a loose way, as the president did a moment ago, that somehow they're to blame. One and only one person is to blame, and his name is Vladimir Putin.
The president yesterday appeared to leave the door open to American troops being put on the ground as part of a peacekeeping force to Ukraine. If we use a double negative, he, did not completely rule out not putting troops on the ground as a part of a peacekeeping force. But today he was asked about that, and let me play what he said about that as well.
But Mr. President, what kind of assurances do you feel like you have that going forward and, past this Trump administration, it won't be American boots on the ground defending that border?
Well, you have my assurance. I'm president.
Regardless if he's a yes or no, Admiral, do you think that U.S. troops need to be part of a peacekeeping force for Ukraine for it to be successful?
Kate, I do not. I think the ground forces could easily be supplied by France, the United Kingdom, Poland, the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, whose leader was in the White House yesterday. There are plenty of European troops that can provide the boots on the ground. What the U.S. has to provide is cybersecurity, intelligence, possibly some air forces, support to those Ukrainian F-16s. We passed along to them logistics muscle. All that can come out of the Supreme Allied Commander, the job I had in Europe. But the United States ought to have a significant role, but we don't have to put boots on the ground. The Europeans will be glad to do that.
Admiral, just as the leaders were arriving at the White House and meeting with President Trump yesterday, Russia launched another attack, its biggest aerial attack on Ukraine since July. Multiple people died. Many were injured. What message should President Trump and all of those leaders take from that, do you think?
That Vladimir Putin is going to continue to commit war crimes, that he has a significant military force, that he needs to be stopped, and that he is, in every sense, I'll use a nautical term here, putting a shot across the bow of the President of the United States. We had to be mindful of that and respond to it with real force and strength. The Russian military has a saying, when you use a bayonet and you encounter mush, keep going. When you hit steel, withdraw. We need to show some steel in the face of Putin's continuing attacks. Final thought, Kate, to end on a positive note, let's look at what came out of that meeting yesterday. You saw the leaders of Europe talk about security guarantees, and the President of the United States agree with them. You saw Europeans leaning forward to be involved in this. All of them spoke forcefully. And finally, I'd encourage people to take a look at what the leader of Finland had to say, a relatively small country, but with real determination and knowing he shares a 600, 800-mile border with Russia, so much courage and steadfast steel from those Europeans. We ought to partner with them and face down Vladimir Putin.
That being the progress coming out from yesterday, and now we see where it heads from here. It's great to see you, Admiral. Thank you so much.